Good morning, Bridget. Here's your machine, the Breville dual boiler. This actually is the BES920, which is actually the next model up from the one you originally messaged me about. I'm happy to upgrade you to this one at no extra cost. Just because I've been so late with the work lately, but thanks for waiting. You've been so patient and I appreciate it. Um, it's done. It's all cleaned, ready to go, and let's make a coffee on it. So the machine is at temperature now, 93. Usually takes about maybe 5 to 10 minutes to turn on from cold. You can actually program it to wake up in the morning for you as well, so that you don't have to wait for it to warm up. So when you turn it on, it'll reach temperature, so the button will stop flashing, that means it's up to temperature. And when the steam is ready, obviously you'll be getting steam output when you turn on the valve. When it's not ready, it'll just beep at you if it's not ready. Okay, so you can keep the machine on for maybe 10-20 minutes for things to warm up. For example, the group head, the handle, and the top tray. Give me just a second. Sorry, yeah, so I was just looking for my cup. So yeah, after you turn it on for maybe 10-20 minutes, you'll get things warming up. For example, your portafilter, your handle, and the top warming tray, so you can store your cups here, preferably when they dry, so that you don't have any rust on the top lid, and that will keep things nice and warm. If you just turned it on and you want it to, get going right away without any waiting, you can still do that by running a blank shot. So that means just running some hot water through the system to warm things up. It's mainly the portafilter that needs warming up, and the cups, or the cup that you're using. And it looks like I'm slightly low on water, so I'm just gonna fill it a little bit. Yeah, that should be enough. So I'm going to press the single button. That'll give me some hot water. You can also use the hot water tap, of course. That'll give you clean hot water from the boiler. You can turn it off at any time. So it's important to run a blank shot, not only to get things nice and hot, but also to prime the pump, and also get rid of any old coffee grounds and oils that are built up. So here's the hot water tap. You can use this to warm up your cups as well. You can use this also for making a long black Americano coffee, or you can just run it through the hot water tap for longer. So sorry, the portafilter. Alrighty, I'm gonna put this on the side. It's nice and warm now. What else? Now it's time to grind the coffee. So I'm including a few things. So the double basket is installed in the machine, but I'm also including all the 4 baskets that come with these machines. So you have the pressurized variety, which these ones you can use for pre-ground coffee if you don't have a grinder. So you can get pre-ground coffee, scoop it in here, and make coffee that way. At the moment I'm using the single wall, so the non-pressurized single wall basket. It's the double basket in here, so this will take about 18 to 20 grams of ground coffee. I'm gonna put, let's put 19 grams of ground coffee in it and see how we go. So you want to use the single wall only with freshly ground coffee. If you use pre-ground coffee on the single wall, your coffee will be too runny, too watery, and too quick. So I'm going to turn on my grinder, and I've already set my grinder to a grind size that gives me the correct pressure and the correct speed. So if I notice my grinder running too quickly, if I notice that my grinder gives me coffee grounds that are too coarse, that would lead to very low pressures and a very watery coffee. If I notice my grinder giving me very fine powder-like coffee, that will increase the pressure significantly more and pretty much choke the machine, and I will be getting very little coffee. So I've set it to sort of like a happy medium where it gives me the correct amount of coffee in the correct amount of time. And I'm always going to try to put 19 grams. I think it's important to be consistent with your machine. Either if you want to get a grinder that weighs your coffee grounds, or invest in a scale. So I've got a scale over here just to confirm the amount of coffee that I'm getting. So that's 19 grams according to my grinder. I'm going to take out the tamper, tamp it nice and firm. If you don't have a scale, that's okay. You can still gauge if you have approximately 18 grams or 19 grams, sorry. And you do that by, grinding the coffee, pressing it down nice and firm, nice and even, and checking the depth of the tamper. So now I have 19 grams. The tamper only goes as deep as this silver cap here, the silver part of this tamper. That's the depth that it goes to. I can't press it any deeper. Alright, so I'm going to make sure it's nice and flat. There are no holes. It's nice and smooth surface. And put back the tamper. I'm going to clean the edges and lock the portafilter. I believe the seal in here is new. It's been changed recently, so you don't have to lock it in all the way to the right, but make sure you lock it in tight enough. So in this case, it's maybe in the middle, just a hair to the right of the middle position. So maybe I would say 545 or 530 position. That should be enough. If you don't tighten this enough, it might just pop off during making the coffee, during the extraction of the coffee. And I wouldn't force it too hard to the right. That's just unnecessary wear on the machine. If you notice that you can't really get it to the center position, it's really hard to put on, but that's probably because you have too much coffee in the handle. So that's a reason. Okay, so let's remove this hot water. I'm gonna make a latte, so I'll be using the steamer as well. I'm gonna grab my milk jug. You want to invest in a good milk jug, so not too large, not too small. So this is a standard for 1 cup. I'm gonna, and it's a stainless steel jug, so that's good. You want it to be stainless steel because obviously it transfers the heat nicely. I'm gonna fill it about halfway. Maybe a little bit more actually. And let's make the coffee. So I'm going to remove this water. Add a little bit of sugar to my coffee. Perfect. I'm going to use the scale this time to measure the output of the coffee. So most people use a 2-to-1 ratio. So for every gram of ground coffee you put in, you want to get 2 grams of liquid espresso out. We put in 19. I should be expecting 38 grams if everything goes well. If I get more than 38 grams, then I would make my grinder finer to achieve 38 grams approximately. And if I get less than 38, I would make my grinder coarser to make it run a bit quicker. So the machine is nice and ready, nice and hot. Like I said, make sure you prime the pump, because if it's your first time using the machine after a morning or like after a long period of unuse, the pump won't be primed, so you just want to sort of wake up the pump, and you can do that, like I said, by running a blank shot or by turning on the hot water tap. It should be more than enough. Now I'm going to press the double button. These buttons are programmable, so you can make them to whatever time, so how many seconds, whatever time you prefer. At standard, I think this is 25 and this is 30. So let's press the double, because this is a double. In that 30 seconds, I want my pressure to be between 8 to 10 bars. And I want to get about 38 grams. So it's 7 bars. That tells me that my grinder needs to be calibrated finer. I think the beans in there are old, so I'm going to turn it off here. The beans in there have been sitting for a few days. It's probably the beans. But anyway, we got about 7 bars. And we got 40. So remember how I told you 38 approximately? 40 is close enough. So we got 40 in 20 seconds. That's okay. That's a drinkable shot, I would say. But ideally, that should happen 20 to 30 seconds. So 25 seconds. Would be the middle point. Anyway, it was a bit quick. And obviously that was reflected in the pressure. It was only 7. It needs to be slightly slower than that, so nice and controlled, almost like warm honey. But in any case, we have some good crema, and it smells okay. Yeah, it smells okay. Of course, this is a dual boiler, so you could be making coffee and steaming milk at the same time. But for the sake of the video, just because I only have 2 hands, I can only focus on one thing at a time in the video. But yeah, this is how it would work. You would by the way, make sure you clean the portafilter after. So here I'm running a blank shot just to rinse the shower screen and the portafilter. And you press the single or double button for it. Oops. Oh, I think I need to fill it with some water. Sorry about that. Yeah, so the blank shot just to rinse everything. And maybe once a week you could, or every other day, just grab a tissue, wipe off the coffee grounds. You'll also get the brush. You could brush off the grip head seal and brush off any excess coffee grounds. Keep your machine nice and clean. But anyway, yeah, it's a dual boiler, so you can do both at the same time. Let's do the milk now. So make sure you purge, which is what I just did to get rid of any water. I'm just going to turn it on for a second and get that steam going. Putting the wand at an angle and close to the surface of the milk, I'm going to turn it on. I'm spinning the milk sort of in a vortex, and then I'm going to raise it for the other half of the time. So the first half, I'm keeping the tip close to the surface, and for the other half, I'm just spinning it. So keeping the wand tip close to the surface injects air, and if you inject too much air, you'll get too many bubbles. I'm going to keep spinning it now until it's too hot to the touch, and just there. I'm going to turn it off. Very important, you want to purge after to get rid of any milk again. And you want to wipe off the wand straight away. So I'm going to grab a wet towel. Make sure it's nice and clean. The sooner you clean it, the better, because obviously it gets really hot on there, and it hardens and almost becomes like a coat of paint if you don't wipe it off straight away. Cool, that's a latte on the Breville dual boiler, or on your Breville dual boiler. Let's pour the milk now. So just knock the jug on the counter just to break any bubbles, and then swirl it around just to kind of mix it up and get that smooth texture. with some practice, you can do really fancy latte art on this machine. In this video, I haven't. So I'm mostly focused on the taste, not the looks. But every now and then I do get that hard or that flower pattern on my coffee, and that just really makes me happy. So here's the final result. A nice smooth latte on the Breville dual boiler. I'm sure you'll enjoy it, and I'll just clean it up now and get it ready for pickup. Thanks for watching.